recording this time, I would prefer to not have to do that. I forgot my mic! Gotta make sure the mic is pointed outward so it can hear me. Even though the mic is crap. So, I'm a doofus, and I didn't really think things through. Luckily, I still have some art for you. That rhymed. That was not my intention. Hello, you beautiful people! David here, or Sin City Yeti, or just Yeti, whichever you prefer. And today I got another different kind of video for you. It's not really that different, but it is because I don't have the artwork. Like, I don't have anything I can show you. It is already done. But I guess I can explain the little things for you. I originally wanted my first video on YouTube to be something completely different than what I ended up posting onto YouTube. And originally, my first video was supposed to go up in November of last year, November, December, because my goal was to actually have my YouTube channel up and running by the end of 2024. Well, the painting I had made took me 105 hours to complete. And that was a lot of footage to go through. And with it being my first video, I wasn't very experienced and hit a lot of technical issues. The biggest one of which was when I had finally put the video together and I was happy with it. I went to render it. It was gonna take like 2.5 hours to render. So I went to bed. When I woke up in the morning, I discovered the video had corrupted. And not just to the point where like the downloaded file had corrupted, the entire thing had corrupted, including like all of my edits and everything. So I couldn't even go back in my save file to try to restore all of my edits. It was just corrupted and gone. I was very devastated, and I didn't really feel like trying it over again. Because it was my first video, it took me forever. It took me 2 weeks to go through 105 hours of footage to put the video together. And losing all of that, I just kind of gave up at the time. I was like, it's the holidays. We were in the middle of a move. So I was just kind of like, you know what? I'll go onto YouTube when I go onto YouTube. Obviously, right now is not the right time. And I ended up just pushing it off again and then focusing on other stuff so that I didn't get my video up until like May. It was some time. But I'm over it now. Enough time has passed that the pain is no longer there of losing what I lost. I do still have, I thought I had all of the raw footage. I do not have all of the raw footage. I have most of the raw footage. Unfortunately, some of the files also got corrupted. So I've lost between like, I would say like 10 to 15 hours worth of footage is gone. So I put together what I could put together. There are going to be some all of us like sudden changes in the painting when you're watching it. It's going to be playing and it's going to look one way and then all of a sudden, poof, it's going to look another way. I apologize for that. It's not anything that I can help, but this is a painting I still want to share. I have not shared its process, and I think it's time. It deserves its moment to shine, especially because it's not the painting's fault that I hit technical issues. I should have understood I was going to face technical issues with my first video. You live and learn. I've gotten much better at them now. Well, much better than the first time, but I still have a long ways to go. But that's besides the point. Anyway, I am talking too much. You've had enough of my face. Let's go see what I can create.
So just in case some of y'all don't know, this is about Pokemon. And if you haven't seen, I sometimes paint Pokemon. I gotta make sure I got my references. Think I got enough?
Okay, so first things first, I didn't sketch it out on camera. I don't typically sketch things out on camera. I might start doing that in the future. This time I sketched it out onto the canvas first. It's just to kind of help keep me focused on what I want to do. Laying down, of course, that layer of water to tighten up the canvas and help the paint slide around. Now, I'm sure you've already noticed a difference between some of my other paintings where I don't sketch out my idea first because I'm just kind of letting the ideas flow out onto the canvas. This is one where I already have an idea of what I want to paint, so I'm going to sketch it out first. And then I'm doing a really light color block wash in the background. So I'm just kind of getting down all of these background colors so that none of the white is peeking through the canvas. If any does peek through, it's all going to be like the base color for that section. Color blocking is one of my favorite things to do. It makes it so much easier when you're trying to get ideas down when you're painting. So like, I know a lot of artists, when they do like their base coat, it's all one solid color. I like to do gradients, or I like to do blocking for just the certain areas that I want different colors. Now we're going to be going into the details. With my landscapes, I tend to do the furthest thing away from the viewer first. I find it helps me with the perspective and keeping things in the distance I want in the distance and things in the foreground I want in the foreground. So since the sunset and the sky in this are going to be like the furthest things away from the viewer, I'm starting with that. I went in with the gradient just to kind of like wash it all out. I'm going for more of a sunset-y vibe. I want to put a bunch of the colors in the clouds, just kind of make it look idyllic. I want it to look dreamy. This is supposed to be a paradise, and I want it to convey that it is a paradise. And so I can do that with tiny little details in this painting outside of what the focus of the painting is. So like it can still have that impact of like what this was supposed to look like. And that's what I'm doing here. If you know Groudon and Kyogre's story at all, they are rivals. One likes to create land and expand the land. The other likes the ocean and can expand the ocean. There is a master over these two, and together they're known as a weather trio. The master can negate all types of weather, so it can stop the flooding or the land expansion, that kind of stuff. But this is before Rayquaza, the Weather Master, gets there. So this is just like Kyogre and Groudon are kind of like fighting, and then this is what's happening around the two of them. So this one's kind of like conveying Groudon's winning. Groudon is the client's favorite Pokemon. They wanted a painting to convey Groudon's power and might. And so I thought it would be kind of fun to do something with a volcano and a volcanic eruption, since that's in our world the way that land expands. It's either through earthquakes or through volcanic activity, and I wanted to bring that into the Pokemon world. It took a lot of time to kind of like find the idea I wanted and to get the clouds and smoke right from a volcano. Let me tell you, like I discovered with this painting just how difficult it is to create real good looking smoke and clouds, especially volcanic clouds. They're just a little different. But I wanted them to be super detailed. So I do try a few things with it, and I really like the end result. So like I can't wait for you all to see that. And I am like doing a color shift within this. Since it is at sunset, there's going to be different hues and colors within the smoke. I kind of wanted to convey that, help bring in some shadows and just make it more dynamic. So I got like the reds and the yellows on one side, and then the cooler purples on the other side to show like the sun is obscured from hitting that section of the smoke. And then you can see that there's going to be a section in front of those two, and that one is still kind of left plain. I haven't started coloring it yet, but here's where I'm going in with all the detail work. So I did like the base fluffiness of these smoke clouds that they're billowing upwards, and then I'm kind of going in with just these crazy little detailed lines with some yellows and lighter oranges to show where the sun would be hitting different spots, also emphasizing different spots that are darker for shadowing effects. And I really like the way that this is coming out. And here's one of those parts where you can see like detail all of a sudden jump. That section of the video, or that video in particular, was corrupted. I could not open it. So I do apologize for that, but luckily not too much was done, but just enough that it was super noticeable. Like it went from being like an orangey color in the sunlight to all of a sudden, boom, bright yellow in your face. So now here's where I'm tying the two sections that I've already painted together. You got the more warm reds on the left, the more cool purples on the right, and I'm bringing them together so it makes it more cohesive between these two sections. I'm putting more of the purples into the shadows, adding some more like little red warm highlights here and there into it, and it's just creating this like very cool dynamic cloud cover. I really like the way that it looks right now. You can kind of tell that it's pushing outwards, like it's hit something in the upper stratosphere where now it's spreading out. The cloud is too dense to go up any higher, or it's lost its momentum kind of thing. And I really like the way that it's spreading out. And now moving on to the island itself, I again want to go for like this tropical paradise looking island that has a volcano erupting. So I'm putting different areas of tree or plant life in there, adding in the highlights and the lowlights in it just to kind of give it some depth and push it further into the background. No super dark darks, more light lights, and it will push that further into the background. And then I'm working on this landslide. So I watched a few volcano videos, just ones that we have erupting for references, and watching how like sections of the mountains when the volcano erupts will just kind of slide and create these landslides. I wanted to incorporate that with this. Groudon is known to be able to create earthquakes. If Groudon has a volcano erupting to create more land, there's going to be landslides. Wanted to make sure like I'm putting that in there so you could just kind of feel the fierce and force of this Pokemon and what it's doing to the landscape around it. And here's a major video that I lost. I thought this would be kind of fun to just show you guys the differences. So yeah, again, nothing I can do about it, but I still wanted to show you this. And I thought it would be kind of fun that you guys could see the comparison of like how much it changed in that video that I lost. I think that one was like an 1.5 hour long video. It was a decent amount of detail work that had just gone forever.
Gone forever!
Let me know down in the comments if you recognize that reference. But nothing I can do about it, and there's no point in crying over spilt milk, right? Right. So we're just gonna keep going. Like we're gonna move on, move past that, working on this landslide, trying to like, since I'm making up this landslide, I don't really have a reference for it other than what videos look like when a landslide happens, kind of how the ground moves and how it slides down. And I'm trying to incorporate that into a painting. I did take a geography class in college, nothing too fancy. It was a 101 class.
I went to college!
But I did get like a basic idea of tectonics and how the physics of land movement works, like very basic level stuff. So I'm trying to incorporate that. And where I see different grooves in my paint, I have lava flows coming down. Lava's like water. It's gonna kind of go to the lowest point in the ground and flow down from there. So that's what I have going on with this landslide, trying to figure out where the different low points in this landslide would be, that the lava would come down, making it look really fiery hot. Went down with a base red, brought it up into that yellow, adding just different line works, different textures with this to really emphasize like this lava. I want it to look like it's glowing. Even if it's in the sun, I want it to still give off this glow. And then of course, you know, the steam coming off from the ocean as it's hitting the water and cooling down super rapidly. Definitely needed to have that touch in here. And now we're adding our first Pokemon. Since this one is further in the background, I wanted to make sure like it was further in the background. Who would have thought that I wanted further in the background things further in the background?
Wow, I never would have thought of that.
But this is the Weather Trio Master. This is Rayquaza. So Rayquaza has the ability to sense when Kyogre and Groudon wake up and they're fighting and causing all sorts of catastrophes. Rayquaza will come down, calm them both down, kind of like, you know, a parent scolding children. Like, yeah, that's definitely the vibe I get from Rayquaza. It's a don't make me pull this car over kind of thing. So kind of blocked out where the Rayquaza was going to go. And I do jump around a little bit in this painting. It's just kind of my thing. When I see one area where I'm like, oh, I got this idea, I can do this, then I'm gonna jump over to it. So like kind of did that with the Rayquaza, jumped over, continuing on this forest, this tropical island, have more lava coming down, as well as I'm now adding in fire with this, because of course, with a lot of plant life and lava, there's going to be fire. And I wanted to really put that in this. I wanted the volcano to be as realistic as I possibly could for the technical skills that I have with painting, just to really emphasize how powerful Groudon is in this. It's one of those things like if you know, and you're gonna immediately pick up on this painting, but I also wanted to make it so like, if you don't know, you can still enjoy this painting. That's one of my goals with my Pokemon paintings. I want to make sure, even if you don't know Pokemon, you can still enjoy the painting itself. So that was my goal with this. That's why I'm going so super detailed with this. And now that I got all that forest done, let's go ahead and work on Rayquaza. I want to get it done. This thing is super tiny. I'm not a small guy. I'm 6'2". I have pretty big hands. And this Rayquaza is half the size of my index finger, like maybe 2 inches. It's tiny. And I am very happy with how much detail I fit into this Rayquaza, with how tiny it is. Such a cute little guy in the distance. But the Rayquaza is coming down like a comet, barreling towards Groudon and Kyogre. Stop fighting, you two!
Whoops. I wasn't recording.
So now this part of the video was not corrupted. This was my bad. Luckily, I caught it without doing too much work into it. I'm just getting started on the water. So I'm the same way that I do the landscape in the air, I'm kind of doing the same thing with the water. I'm putting the furthest colors you would see in the water down first. So since I have lava flowing into the water, you can still kind of see the glow of the lava through the water. But that's going to be the furthest thing away from you when you're looking at the surface of the water to where the lava is. So I'm just putting down like a layer of color because I'm going to kind of obscure it a little bit. And I did struggle with this water. I think I restarted a couple of times before I came up with something that I like. Like, I honestly should have stopped it around this point, but I just kept going and then I ended up not liking what I did. But this I don't think looks terrible. This is about where I should have stopped. And I'm just kind of like going in with different bubbles. I'm thinking of like, oh, the water's gonna be churning, but it's not storming, and it's just gonna be kind of like rippling and that kind of thing. And as you can see, it doesn't quite look right here. There's no uniformity to the waves, which there would be. I didn't realize it now. I was just like, something's off. I'm not really liking it. Let's add more details. And more details I added. I then ended up going in with some darker blues to kind of cover it all up and then cut back on the details that I covered. It looks a little bit more uniform now, like they're all rippling towards the shoreline. And now we're getting more to the landscape part of around Groudon. And I want it to look like new land that he's standing on. And since he is a lava magma monster, he's the continent Pokemon. He's not gonna struggle on lava, so I wanted to put him standing on the lava. Unfortunately, this was the biggest chunk of video that I lost. I am a little sad that I lost this because there was so much work I put into this. That was about 4 hours worth of footage that I lost right here. So I wish I could have showed you this. Unfortunately, all I'm getting is a black screen with an exclamation point and that the file cannot be read. Sad day, but at least I can still show you the end result and how cool it looks, as well as how tiny all of this stuff is. So I thought it would be kind of fun with this, since I was planning on making this my first YouTube video, like to show you like how small some of the detail work is, to how small the brush is, like my hand, and how the painting would actually look when you're looking at the full thing. I thought it would be a clever idea. I don't know if this was executed in the right way, but I figured since I already filmed it, I don't have the painting, it's not like I can refilm any specific shot, I might as well include it. And so like, you can see like with this one, I'm making like magma balls shooting out of the ground, and you can just kind of see like the little glob of paint, which looks really big when it's all zoomed in, and then you zoom out and realize like, no, this thing is tiny. It's like 1/8 of the size of my fingernail. These are tiny, tiny details. But this is like the thing I get lost in when I'm creating, especially these landscapes. I love these little tiny, tiny details. It makes the painting feel so alive to me. And it's kind of like my style. Like, detail work is definitely my style. I couldn't tell you exactly what kind of style that is. I just know like it's definitely developed into my signature way of painting. And don't worry, like for all you other artists out there, I only just discovered my style a couple of years ago. That means that I have been creating for more than 30 years, not knowing what my style is. It will come to you. Just keep creating. So now we're going to finally get on to the two main focuses of this painting, Kyogre and Mr. Groudon. So with Kyogre, I know it's technically the closest thing to the viewer, but it's not what I want the main focus to be on. It's like the side focus. And I'm also trying to emulate like the battle screen. So like if this was on the Game Boy, you got the Kyogre and you're fighting Groudon. That's kind of the vibe I was going for with this. So I'm just adding in all the little detail work with Kyogre. This one was fairly straightforward. Kyogre's not a super hard Pokemon. I should say it's not a super hard legendary to draw. There's not a ton of detail work on it. For the most part, it's mainly one color. But now we're going on to Groudon, and I struggled with this guy. Oh my goodness. This is what like took up so much time, and there's a lot of footage that is missing from this. But I did get some footage, and you can still see like the progress of it. I was also trying to still like focus on reels and shorts and stuff like that. This is one I didn't really post onto YouTube, but I think you guys might enjoy it.
Hello, you beautiful people. Story time. While I am painting, finishing up Groudon, I'm gonna share a story with you. It's a cringe story. It was haunting me and keeping me up last night when I was trying to fall asleep because my brain was like, remember this moment when you were super cringe? Yes, I remember that moment, brain. Thank you for that.
I'm cringe. I'm cringe. I'm cringe.
This cringe moment was 30 years ago. I was 8 years old.
Aww.
I wanted to go outside and play, and my best friend Jason at the time lived in the same neighborhood as me, so I walked over to his place. I normally knocked, because this was before cell phones, you know, like you knocked on someone's door, are you available to come out and play? Only this time, I didn't knock for some reason. Always knocked before, not this time.
and just walked right into their house while they were eating dinner. I look at them, they look at me, I notice they're looking really super sad, all sitting around the table, Jason, his mom, his dad, and my little ass goes, "Why does everybody look so sad when dinner smells so good?" Jason's grandma had just passed away, and they were all sitting at the table upset because, you know, someone had just died. And then this little kid just totally walked in the middle of them, like, grieving and asking them, why are they sad? So yeah, that's a cringe moment my brain will never let me live down. So yeah, it's just it was just a silly story. You can show like while I'm painting, and I was actually painting while I was telling the story, but the video that I used isn't the same as me painting. So I lost some of the footage there, but the big thing is like I lost so much footage with Groudon. This is probably the thing that made me the most sad with how much footage I lost, was how much I lost with Groudon, because I struggled and I wanted to share that, like all of these struggles that I had with Groudon. So you can see like some things just popped up with Groudon, but here's where like you can kind of see where I'm starting to struggle. Groudon's mouth is coming out of his boobs, and I don't know why that was the way I drew it. I didn't see it when it was just a drawing, but I am definitely seeing it as I'm adding color and painting it and going, why is Groudon's mouth in his boobs? I didn't quite notice it at first, and I'm thinking like, oh, it's just in my head, it's not that bad. And then like I took a short break and then I came back and looked at it and I'm like, no, it does look that bad. I am definitely going to need to change this. That's one of the things that I lost. And I even had a whole video I was planning on making a short where I painted over Groudon's mouth completely. Like you can see part of it here, and I reshaped him. And even this still looks kind of funny, but I wanted to really like show like mistakes happen. We just try to fix them to the best of our abilities. At least now, like Groudon's mouth is no longer coming out of his boobs. Poor Groudon. And then here's the big one that I lost. So you can see there's a very big difference now. I really reworked this mouth. That was probably about an hour and a half worth of painting, but unfortunately, that's one of the big chunk videos that I just lost. Nothing I can do about it. I am more happy with this pose. It looks more natural. Groudon doesn't look so frumpy, doesn't try it look like it's talking out of its boobs. Like that's just not cute. I want Groudon to look fierce, not frumpy. Yeah, this is looking much better. Now I'm going in with all of the different reds and colors on it. And I work in small sections. I get a lot of comments of people going like, question whether I really work with acrylics because they say like my blending looks more like oils. I did learn to paint with oils first, so that's definitely influenced my painting style with acrylics. But I work in small batches with the detail work for blending. And I try to blend as quickly as possible, especially when I'm working in these small areas. That really helps with shadowing. So with this Groudon for the shadowing, I used a little bit of black, a little bit of purple, and I just worked it into the red where I wanted more shadows, where I wanted it to be deeper shadows. So you could probably tell like the parts of Groudon that are supposed to be in the light, they're not pink. They still look red. I used yellow. That is a very big trick to use with red. If you want to lighten up red, use a little bit of yellow. You can mix a little bit of white with the yellow, but the more white you use, you're gonna start pulling that red into pink instead of like a light red. Just remember, when you add white, the more white you add, the more you're gonna pull that red into pink rather than into a light red. And when you've got a light shining on it, red doesn't turn pink. It just turns a lighter shade of red. Just so you all know my little nugget tidbit. But lots of work going into this. I end up changing a little bit more on it. So figure I could show you another little reel that I made from this video. This video still got some attention. I just never showed the process. It's okay to need to start over, but I can't get over how weird Groudon looks. Yay! And what's funny is I struggled with Groudon in multiple ways. This isn't the only time I struggled with Groudon. I also painted these two rocks, Groudon and Kyogre, and I struggled with Groudon on the rock too, and it was with his head.
It's okay to start over. Just look at this little guy. I had to redo his head, and now he's looking very goofy, and I think I want to give him a little eyeball right there. We're going to give him a little smile. And a little eyeball right there. He's just a happy little guy. Look at his little turtle head. I shall name him Frank.
And I think Frank definitely made an appearance again in this painting. Definitely looking a little doofy, but it happens. I needed to fix his neck, fix his position. It just, Groudon didn't look right. He looked like he was in a little bit of pain and didn't look super fierce. I want this guy to look fierce. I want him to look tough as nails. And I gotta make sure I'm doing that. Unfortunately, I did lose all of the footage of me finishing Groudon. So we're gonna go right into me signing it now because all that footage is gone. But don't you worry, you're still gonna get to see the finished product. And there they are. Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza. I really love the way that this came out. It looks like the two of them are fighting. It looks like Groudon just noticed Rayquaza barreling down towards them, going to stop this fight soon. I really, really love the way that this came out. And I am so happy that the client loved this painting so much. But that means now it's time for the final review. Seeing a mustache hair in the corner of my eyes, and it is bugging the crap out of me. So what do you think? I have to say this is one of my favorite Pokemon paintings. Even though, like, I can't show you, like, I can go like this. Oh, look, it's magic. It's there. It's floating all over the place in front of my face. Ah! Anyway, this is one of my favorite Pokemon paintings. I've done so many of them. Maybe one day I can do, like, a sketchbook tour and, like, cover some of my paintings that I've already finished, as well as my sketchbook of ideas. Let me know down in the comments. Do you want to see a sketchbook tour? It's a real sketchbook. It doesn't look pretty, just so you're aware. It's not an art book, it's a sketchbook. But let me know if you want to see it. I'll totally do that in a future video if you guys like that kind of stuff. I don't know. You gotta let me know what you like. Since this was a commission, it already went to the person who purchased it. They absolutely love it. That was, you know, the whole goal was to make sure they love it. It was what they wanted. I'm really happy with the way that one turned out. It was just, I always get a little nervous because my commissions aren't cheap. It does take a lot of time for my paintings, like 105 hours. That's a lot of time in a painting. So they love it. It was what they wanted. I poured my heart into it. I'm so happy I still have some of the footage that I was able to show you guys. And yeah, let me know, do you like the Pokemon paintings? I have so many landscapes, like all those are landscapes. There's a whole wall right here that you guys can't see. There's a whole wall over there that you guys can't see. More over there you can't see. Like, so yeah, like I could totally go through like paintings that I've done. I have like the original sketchbook where I just sketched out my ideas before I painted them. I can show you my first painting. I can show you my latest one, which is actually right there. I could just, so as you can see, like I do pour a lot of love into my Pokemon paintings. What do you think of the Pokemon painting? Are there Pokemon that you think I should paint? I may have already painted them, but I have no qualms redoing Pokemon. There's a few that I've done multiple times just because I love them. Some I've done multiple times, not because I love them, but because I think they would work in the landscapes. So yeah, let me know down in the comments. Do you play Pokemon? If yes, who's your favorite Pokemon? Mine's Gyarados. Currently right now, it's a Sapphire, one of my favorites from this generation. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Be safe out there. Don't get lost. Don't get stolen. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye, you beautiful people.